The campus library hummed with quiet taps of keyboards and the soft shuffle of pages, until the silence cracked. Jordan Hayes felt it before he heard it. The shift in air, the sudden stiffness at the study tables around him, the unmistakable presence of authority moving with the confidence of someone who never questioned his own power. Officer Brett Halston's boots thudded against the carpet, heavy and intentional, stopping right beside Jordan's chair. Jordan froze, fingers hovering above his laptop. His code-filled screen reflected off Halston's polished badge. "Student ID," Halston barked, not asked. "Bark." Jordan blinked. "I'm studying. I didn't do anything." Halston leaned closer, voice dropping into a tone that made nearby students glance up and then quickly away. "Funny. You people never do." The word struck like a slap, blunt, humiliating, designed to wound where no bruise would show. Jordan's breath shook, but he lifted his ID with steady fingers. Halston snatched it, inspected it as if expecting fraud, then scanned the tables as though searching for a crime only he believed existed. A librarian approached timidly. "Officer, is something wrong?" Halston didn't look away from Jordan. "Yeah," he said, loud enough for the room to freeze. "I think this one's trespassing." Jordan's heart slammed. Trespassing? In his own university library. Halston's hand moved toward his radio. Students watched. No one spoke. Jordan's laptop screen dimmed, the last line of code still visible. Lines belonging to the very study app half the students in that room depended on, the one Halston himself used every night before bed. Halston's thumb hovered over the call button. And Jordan understood. This wasn't about suspicion. It was a warning. Punishment. Voice. The radio crackled to life. And the moment snapped. Jordan Hayes had come to the library early to secure his favorite corner table, a quiet spot tucked behind a row of computer stations. He liked the soft hum of the overhead lights, the faint scent of old pages, the way the space felt like a neutral zone where the world outside couldn't reach him. At least, that's what he used to believe. He had just opened his laptop, fingers gliding into familiar rhythm over the keys, when a shadow smothered the light on his screen. Officer Brett Halston. Jordan didn't need to look up to know something was wrong. His chest tightened before a single word was spoken. "Student ID." Halston's voice landed like a command, not a question. Jordan swallowed. I'm working on an assignment. Why do you need my..." Halston stepped closer, boots brushing Jordan's backpack. "Don't make this difficult." Jordan raised his hands slightly to show he wasn't resisting. "I'm not. I just want to know." Sharp exhale. Halston's lip curled. "You people always want explanations." The words sliced through the room's quiet. A few students glanced over, eyes darting away just as fast. Jordan forced his voice to stay calm. "Officer, I'm just asking. ID." Halston jabbed 2 fingers forward. Jordan handed it over. Halston snatched it as if it were contaminated. The officer turned the card in his hand. Says you're enrolled." "Says." Jordan raised an eyebrow despite the tension twisting his stomach. "Because I am enrolled." Halston didn't like that tone. His shoulders squared. "Watch yourself." A librarian, small and nervous, approached from between the aisles. "Is everything all right here?" Halston didn't break eye contact with Jordan. "We've got a disturbance." Jordan blinked. I wasn't disturbing anyone." Halston's laugh was short and humorless. "Being somewhere you don't belong is a disturbance." The librarian's posture stiffened. "He's allowed to study here, officer. All students are." Halston finally looked at her. "Are you sure? Because I found him tucked away back here without any visible ID." Jordan's voice cracked with disbelief. "You walked up behind me. You didn't even..." Halston cut him off. "Sir, stand up." Jordan froze. "Why?" "Because I told you to." The nearby students fell silent, pretending not to listen while very much listening. Jordan slowly rose. His knees felt weak. "Officer, Please don't escalate this. Halston smirked. Escalate? You think this is escalation? Jordan took a breath, grounding himself. I'm cooperating. Barely. Halston reached for his radio. Possible trespassing. Jordan's blood ran cold. Trespassing? I study here every day. Halston shrugged. You're acting nervous. Because you're harassing me. Halston's jaw tightened. Last warning, watch how you speak to me. Jordan felt the room tilt. No matter what he said, the officer twisted it. No matter how calm he stayed, Halston painted him as dangerous. The librarian spoke again, voice trembling. Officer, maybe we can. Stay out of it, Halston snapped. Jordan clenched his fists, not to fight, but to keep them from shaking. Can I at least get my bag? No. You'll get it after I verify your information. Jordan stared at the table he'd claimed, at his open laptop still glowing with lines of code. His work, his sanctuary, now turned into evidence against him. Halston motioned to the doorway. Let's go. Jordan felt dozens of eyes on him as he walked past the tables. Whispered breaths followed him. His face burned with shame he didn't deserve. Outside the library, Halston shoved the ID back into Jordan's hand. If I see you wandering around back there again without announcing yourself, you're out. Understood. Jordan couldn't believe what he was hearing. Announcing myself. In a library. No one else does that. Halston leaned in. You're not everyone else. Jordan's voice wavered. Is there a problem you have with me? Halston's smile didn't reach his eyes. I don't have problems. I solve them. The implication hit Jordan like a blow. Halston turned and walked away, leaving Jordan standing on the cold concrete steps of a building he had once considered safe. Jordan looked down at his ID card, edges dented from Halston's grip. His chest rose and fell in uneven rhythm. He had done nothing wrong. But the message was clear. Power gets to choose its own truth. Jordan closed his fist around the card. This wasn't over. Jordan didn't step back into the library for 2 days. Not because he didn't need to study. Midterms were closing in. But because every time he pictured walking past the front desk again, his chest tightened and his palms went damp. He couldn't unhear Halston's voice. Couldn't unfeel the humiliation of being marched past whispering students. But the campus didn't forget. Never did. When Jordan returned to the student center for lunch, he saw it immediately. The sideways glances, the clusters of people whispering with phones partially hidden under tables, the quick flickers of recognition in their eyes. 2 students passed him. One murmured, "That's him." Jordan kept walking. Another table went quiet as he approached. A girl tapped her friend's arm and subtly angled her phone screen away. Too late. He'd seen the thumbnail. Him standing tense and confused, while Halston loomed over him in the library's dim light. Video. Course there was a video. Jordan exhaled slowly and took a seat by the window. He opened his backpack, pretending to look for something just to give his hands a job. A voice from behind him broke the silence. Hey. Jordan, right? He turned. A guy he vaguely recognized from Intro to Sociology stepped closer, eyes uneasy. Yeah, Jordan answered cautiously. The guy rubbed the back of his neck. I saw what happened. I didn't record it, but people did. Jordan nodded. I'm aware. It's messed up, man. Seriously. The guy glanced around, lowering his voice. But, just be careful. Campus police are saying you were being uncooperative. Jordan's jaw tightened. I wasn't. I know, the guy said quickly. I'm not saying you were. Just, they're controlling the narrative right now. Jordan frowned. Great. Perfect. The guy offered a pained smile. If you need anything, I'm around. Then he walked away before any more students could see him talking to Jordan for too long. Jordan slumped back in his chair. Whispers. Screenshots. The story was spreading faster than he could breathe. His phone buzzed. Mom saw a video. Are you okay? Call me. He closed his eyes. He didn't have the energy to explain, not yet. Before he could respond, another notification arrived. Campus update. A statement regarding a disturbance in the library earlier this week. Jordan opened it. It was short, vague, annotated. A routine patrol encountered a moment of non-compliance. We encourage students to remain cooperative with campus authorities. We remind everyone to respect library policies. Jordan scoffed. Non-compliance. Respect policies. I was literally sitting. A student sitting 2 tables away spoke without looking up. Dude, you should just let it go. They're not gonna admit they were wrong. Jordan looked over. You think I should let someone accuse me of trespassing in my own campus library? The guy shrugged. It sucks, I get it. But you don't want that kind of attention. People who push back usually end up worse. Jordan stared at him. That's the problem. No response. The guy went back to scrolling his phone. Jordan snapped his laptop open, needing some sense of control. The familiar blue interface of his coding console greeted him. For a moment, the world felt normal. Strings of logic, functions, clean lines that didn't twist themselves into lies. He tapped a few keys. An idea had been simmering since the library incident. Something raw, something he'd tried to push away. But the more he watched the campus swallow the narrative Halston crafted, the more the idea hardened. Maybe he should file a complaint. But before he could fall deeper into thought, a girl slid hesitantly into the seat across from him. Hi, she whispered. Sorry. Can I talk to you for a second? Jordan blinked. Sure. She leaned in, voice barely audible. I was in the library that day. I saw everything. And her throat tightened. I'm sorry I didn't say anything. Jordan softened. You don't have to apologize. It wasn't your fault. It feels like it was, she murmured. No one did anything. We all just watched. That's the system, Jordan said quietly. People freeze. They're afraid of making it worse. She looked down at her hands. I took a screenshot of the officer grabbing his radio before you even stood up. If you need it, I can send it to you. Jordan's breath caught. You're willing to share it? She nodded. Yeah. Someone needs to tell the truth. Jordan stared at her, surprised by the sting of gratitude behind his ribs. Thank you. Really? He stood. Just be careful. People are saying the department's backing him. Then she hurried away. Jordan closed his eyes for a long moment. The world wasn't entirely silent. Not entirely. But power was loud and truth was fragile. He slid his phone into his pocket. He knew what he had to do now. Tomorrow he would file the complaint, regardless of how many people said not to. Jordan spent the next morning in the engineering building, tucked inside the small computer lab most students ignored. The place smelled faintly of dust and overheated servers, comforting in a strange, familiar way. Here, no one whispered when he entered. No one stared. No one replayed the library incident like a viral clip. Here he could breathe. He opened his laptop, and the screen lit up with a project that felt like a lifeline. Focus Flow. His app. His creation. His secret. Jordan leaned back, exhaling softly. All right, he muttered to himself. Let's fix the bugs from last night. A voice from the doorway startled him. Talking to code again. Jordan looked up. It was Samir, his classmate and occasional friend, one of the few people who knew he was the anonymous developer behind the campus's most used study tool. Jordan forced a small smile. It listens better than people. Samir dropped into the seat beside him. I saw the campus statement, man. Absolute garbage. Jordan sighed. You and everyone else. You filed the complaint yet? Planning to, Jordan said. I'm gathering evidence first. Samir nodded, tapping the desk with his pen. Good. Halston shouldn't get away with that. Jordan returned his focus to the screen. You'd think, he said quietly, building something that helps students study wouldn't make me a target. Samir frowned. What does Focus Flow have to do with? Not focus flow specifically, Jordan said. Just, I spend so much time trying to make life easier for people. And still, Samir finished for him. Still you get treated like a threat for sitting in a chair. Jordan swallowed hard. Yeah. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Samir nudged him. Show me what you're working on. Jordan hesitated, then pulled up the new interface. I'm building a personalized concentration tracker. It'll adapt to a student's study habits. Oh, Samir said, leaning in. So like, it learns how procrastination works. Jordan smirked. It learns how you procrastinate, specifically. Samir laughed. Bro, if this thing starts calling me out by name. It won't, Jordan said. But it might suggest breaks or remind you when you're zoning out. As he spoke, something loosened in Jordan's chest. Coding had always been his way of stitching wounds shut, logic healing what injustice tore apart. Every line he wrote was control, clarity, truth. Samir watched him type for a moment. You ever think about going public with it? The app, I mean. Jordan sighed. I don't know. I like the anonymity. You'd get recognition, money, probably job offers. And scrutiny, Jordan murmured. People digging into who I am, where I come from, why I built it. Samir tilted his head. Is that a bad thing? Jordan didn't answer immediately. He remembered Holston's sneer. You people. He remembered the eyes in the library, wide, wary, waiting for him to step out of line. Yeah, Jordan said softly. Sometimes it is. Before Samir could reply, the door opened again. 2 freshmen stepped inside, talking loudly. Dude, I swear the only reason I passed my chem exam was focus flow, one said. For real, the other added. It's like the app knows when I'm slacking. He laughed. Whoever made it. Genius. Jordan froze. Samir raised an eyebrow, whispering, See? Imagine if they knew it was you. Jordan shook his head. Nope. Don't want that kind of attention. But despite himself, he felt a flicker of pride. Small, fragile, but real. The freshman grabbed a computer and kept chatting. You know Officer Holston, one of them said. He was telling someone he uses focus flow to help study for these security certification courses. Jordan's fingers stilled over the keyboard. Samir looked over. You all right? Jordan forced a breath. Holston uses it. Apparently. The freshman continued, oblivious. He said it helps him stay sharp on night shifts. Jordan's stomach twisted. The man who treated him like a threat. The man who almost called backup on him. The man who humiliated him in a library. Was using his app. His code. His work. Samir leaned in. That's wild. Jordan lowered his voice. Not sure how to feel about that. Samir shrugged. If anything, it proves you're better than him. Jordan stared at his screen. Lines of code blurred. Not from confusion. From emotion he hadn't named yet. He depended on my work, Jordan whispered. But saw me as nothing. Samir nodded slowly. That's how bias works, man. People can benefit from you and still refuse to see you. Jordan closed the laptop halfway, letting the quiet settle around him. He whispered almost to himself. He doesn't even know who I am. Samir put a hand on his arm. Then maybe it's time you decide whether anyone gets to define that. Jordan looked up. And for the first time since the library incident, he wasn't just angry. He was determined. Something was shifting. Focus flow wasn't just a tool anymore. It was proof. Proof he belonged. Proof he contributed. Proof he wasn't the danger Holston imagined. And maybe Jordan thought it could become something more. Something powerful. Something that could speak where he couldn't yet. He opened the laptop again. Okay, he said quietly. Let's keep building. Jordan stood outside the Office of Campus Safety and Conduct with a manila folder tucked under his arm. His palms were sweaty despite the cold morning air drifting in through the cracked hallway windows. He took one slow breath, then another. "This is it," he whispered. He pushed the door open. A receptionist looked up with a polite but tired smile. "Hi there. What can we help you with?" Jordan cleared his throat. "I'm here to file a formal complaint against Officer Brett Holston." Her fingers paused above her keyboard. "Oh." Her tone shifted, small but enough for Jordan to feel it. "Let me get someone from internal review." As she disappeared into the back office, Jordan sat stiffly in the plastic chair, tapping his foot. He repeated the plan in his head. Be calm, speak clearly, stick to the facts. He'd rehearsed it a dozen times. A door opened. A man in a campus badge stepped out. Late 40s, gray suit, practiced diplomatic smile. "Mr. Hayes," he said. "I'm Investigator Randall. Let's talk." Jordan followed him into a windowless room with neutral walls and a table too big for two people. "Randall, Saturday, so. You're filing a complaint about an encounter with Officer Holston." "Yes," Jordan said. "He harassed me in the library, accused me of trespassing without cause, and escalated the situation even after I complied." Randall clicked his pen. "All right. Walk me through it exactly." Jordan did. Every word, every detail. His voice shook only once. Randall took sparse notes, mostly nodding. When Jordan finished, the investigator folded his hands. "All right," he said. "Thank you. Now, let me get the officer's side." Jordan frowned. "Wait, you're calling him now?" Randall offered a mild smile. "It's standard procedure." He dialed a number on the desk phone, put it on speaker and leaned back. After 2 rings, Holston answered. "Holston." "Officer," Randall said. "I'm here with a student who filed a complaint regarding your interaction in the library 2 days ago." Holston didn't hesitate. "The non-compliant one." Jordan's stomach knotted. Randall glanced at Jordan. "We're just trying to clarify." Holston exhaled through the receiver. "Yeah, I remember. He got defensive from the start. Refused to show ID until I pressed. Looked like he was hiding something." Jordan sat forward. "That's not true. I handed you my ID." Randall raised a hand to silence him. Holston continued. "I treated him like any other student. If he felt offended, that wasn't my intention." Jordan couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Any other student? You told me." Randall shook his head. "Jordan, please wait." Jordan clenched his jaw. Holston added, "My job is to keep the library safe." He was in a secluded area. No visible ID. Acting nervous. Jordan's voice burst out despite himself. "I wasn't acting nervous until you approached me." Randall muted the call. "Mr. Hayes, please. Let me manage the questioning." Jordan leaned back, pulse pounding. Randall unmuted. "We'll follow up, officer." "Thank you." Holston hung up without a goodbye. Randall sighed and closed the folder. "Conflicting accounts happen," he said diplomatically. "This is why we gather evidence. Do you have anything besides personal testimony?" Jordan nodded and slid a printed screenshot across the table. "A student captured this. Holston reaching for his radio before speaking to me." Randall studied it. Hard to tell context." Jordan swallowed. "Of course it is." Randall sighed. "Look, Jordan. I'm not saying nothing happened. I'm saying our process requires neutrality." "Neutrality," Jordan repeated quietly. "He accused me of trespassing in my own library." "We understand emotions are high," Randall said, voice smoothing into administrative calm. "We'll review the evidence and follow up within 2 weeks." Jordan blinked. 2 weeks? That long? These things take time. Jordan stood. "I know what that usually means." Randall looked at him carefully, then said the line Jordan dreaded. "These situations often come down to misunderstandings." Jordan laughed bitterly. "Misunderstandings. That's the word we're going with." Randall's expression tightened. "You're welcome to add a written statement." Jordan grabbed the folder. I already did. He walked out before Randall could say anything else. Outside, the hallway felt even colder. Jordan leaned against the wall, head bowed. His phone buzzed. A message from Samir. How'd it go? Jordan typed back. They don't believe me. Not really. They're calling it a misunderstanding. Samir replied almost immediately. Bro. That's code for we're protecting our own. Jordan closed his eyes. Exactly. Another message came through, this time from an unknown number. I heard about the complaint. Be careful what you push. Things get messy when students challenge the department. Jordan's breath caught. Who sent that? A warning. A threat. He typed back. Who is this? No response. He showed the message to Samir. This is what I'm dealing with, he said quietly. They're already trying to intimidate me. Samir clenched his jaw. Then we push harder. Jordan sighed. If I push, I'm the angry student. If I stay quiet, I'm complicit. So, Samir asked, which one can you live with? Jordan looked down at his phone, the screen reflecting his own frustrated expression back at him. I don't know, he whispered. But silence feels like surrender. Samir nodded. Then don't surrender. Jordan exhaled slowly. The system was resisting him. Closing ranks. Pretending neutrality while choosing sides. But Jordan felt something shifting in him. Quiet, steady, undeniable. He wasn't going to disappear. And if the institution wanted silence, they were about to face the opposite. Jordan lingered outside the student center long after the sun dipped behind the engineering building. He didn't want to go back to his dorm. Not to the silence, not to the unanswered questions, not to the growing weight in his chest. His phone buzzed. Unknown number again. But this time the message wasn't a threat. Maya. I was in the library the day Officer Holston confronted you. Can we talk? Jordan stared at the screen. Someone else was reaching out. He typed back. Where? Quiet room, second floor of the student center. I'm here now. Jordan hesitated, only for a second, then walked inside. The quiet room lived up to its name. Soft yellow lamps glowed from the corners, and couches were arranged in a circle like a support group waiting for members. A girl sat alone near the window, twisting a lanyard nervously around her fingers. Maya? Jordan asked gently. She looked up quickly. Jordan. Thanks for coming. He took a seat across from her. You said you were there. I was, she said, pushing her glasses up her nose. I was at the table right behind you. Jordan exhaled slowly. Then you saw everything. I did, she whispered. And I didn't do anything. I feel awful. Jordan leaned forward. Maya, what you felt in that moment, fear, shock, that's not your fault. She shook her head. Everyone told me not to get involved. My roommate said filing a statement would make the police note my name, and that I'd get targeted. She swallowed. My advisor actually told me to stay focused on academics. Jordan blinked. Your advisor said that? Yeah. Maya's voice cracked. Like standing up for someone's humanity is optional. Jordan breathed out, pain pulling at his chest. It shouldn't be optional. No, she agreed softly. Which is why I want to help now. Jordan's eyebrows lifted. Help how? Maya reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. Thin but purposeful. I wrote a statement, she said, handing it to him. Everything I saw. Word for word. Jordan opened it. Her handwriting was neat, deliberate, earnest. She described Holston's tone, the way students froze, the librarian's fear, and the accusation of trespassing. She even noted the moment Holston touched his radio. Jordan looked up, stunned. Maya, this is incredibly detailed. I wanted it to be, she said. If they ignored your complaint, maybe they won't ignore too. Jordan swallowed hard. You know the risk you're taking, right? Yes, she said without hesitation. But if I stay silent, then what he did becomes normal. And it shouldn't be. He paused. Look, I'm scared. I won't pretend I'm not. But I'm more scared of doing nothing. Jordan leaned back, letting her words sink in. You're braver than you realize, he said quietly. Maya smiled shyly. No. I'm just tired of the way things are. They sat in silence for a moment, the room absorbing their exhaustion. Then Maya asked, Did you hear anything from the investigation yet? Jordan gave a hollow laugh. They called it a misunderstanding. Maya's eyebrows shot up. A misunderstanding. Are you serious? Apparently, he said bitterly. The officer thought I was acting nervous and out of place. Maya's voice sharpened. Acting nervous isn't a crime. I know. And out of place, she repeated, anger rising. In a library. Jordan shrugged helplessly. Maya leaned in. Jordan, they're minimizing what happened. That means they think you'll give up. Jordan rubbed his eyes. That's what scares me. What if they don't take either of us seriously? Then we escalate, she said simply. Jordan blinked. Escalate. Maya nodded. Talk to the student council, the campus diversity office, even student journalists. Pressure works. Jordan hesitated. Going public could paint a target on my back. You already have a target, Maya said gently. At least this way, the truth isn't silent. Jordan absorbed her words. Slowly, painfully. She was right. Whether he stayed quiet or spoke up, the risk didn't disappear. But silence let power dictate the story. Maya, Jordan said, voice softer. Thank you. Really. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I did, she replied. Because you deserved someone to stand beside you that day. Jordan exhaled shakily. And now, she said, offering a small, steady smile. I'm standing with you. Jordan folded her statement carefully, placing it into his backpack like something sacred. Maybe the system wouldn't listen yet. But he wasn't alone anymore. And that changed everything. Jordan didn't feel like going straight home after class, so he wandered into the campus coffee shop, the one tucked behind the science building where the lights were dim and the music never rose above a soft acoustic hum. He ordered tea, took a corner seat, and opened his laptop to work on focus flow. The familiar lines of code grounded him, steadied his breath. With Maya now backing him, he finally felt the smallest spark of momentum. But the universe seemed determined to test him. The door swung open, a gust of cold air following someone inside. Jordan didn't look up until he heard the voice. Halston's voice. Loud, careless, confident. Jordan's fingers froze over the keyboard. Halston wasn't alone. 2 campus security officers were with him, laughing as they settled into a booth not 10 feet away. Jordan instinctively lowered the brightness on his screen and ducked slightly behind his laptop. He didn't want to see Halston. He didn't want Halston to see him. But he couldn't help overhearing. Man, the whole complaint thing. Halston scoffed loudly enough for half the cafe to hear. It's nothing. Kid was being difficult. They always spin it like they're the victim. Jordan's chest tightened. One officer chuckled. Admin gonna back you. Of course they are, Halston said. They always do. Randall already told me the students got no real evidence. Jordan clenched his jaw. Liar. Halston lowered his voice slightly. Just enough that he thought he was being subtle, not enough to stop Jordan's ears from catching every word. It'll die quietly, Halston said. They'll sweep it. They don't want the optics of blaming an officer. Especially not for something so minor. Minor. Jordan's humiliation minor. The other officer asked. Didn't he have a witness? Halston waved the concern away. People get scared. They won't say anything when it gets formal. Trust me, the department knows how to handle these things. Jordan felt a chill crawl up his spine. He had suspected the system was stacked. But hearing it out loud from Halston's own mouth, that was different. That was evidence. Jordan's hands trembled as they hovered over his phone. He wasn't sure at first if he should record, but Halston kept talking, kept bragging. kept burying himself in arrogance. Jordan slid his phone slightly out of his pocket, screen face down, voice memo app open, microphone exposed. Click. It began recording. Halston leaned back in the booth, sighing dramatically. Honestly, the kid should have just stayed quiet. Now he's gonna get a reputation. You challenge the department, you get marked. Jordan's stomach lurched. Marked? One officer repeated. Yeah, Halston said. We all keep an eye on people like that. It's better for everyone's safety. Jordan's throat tightened. Illegal. Maybe not. Intimidating. Absolutely. Halston continued. Besides, the kid looked suspicious from the start. Hoodie up, sitting in the dark corner. Sheesh. The other officer laughed. He was coding, right? Coding. Halston repeated with a snort. Probably hacking something. Jordan's eyebrows shot up. Hacking. He'd literally been writing functions for a productivity timer. Halston reached into his pocket. Anyway, speaking of studying, hold up. Focus flow just reminded me to review something. Jordan's stomach dropped. His app. Halston's phone. The familiar interface sound. The notification tone he designed himself. He wasn't imagining it. One of the officers asked, "What's focus flow?" "It's some study app one use," Halston said, tapping his screen. "Keeps me on track for the certification exam. Honestly, it's the only good thing students here ever made." Jordan's lips parted in disbelief. He, Jordan, the student Halston humiliated, had built the tool Halston relied on. Halston kept talking. "App's anonymous, though. Developer doesn't even have a name listed. Probably some tech bro too busy sitting in fancy labs to get into trouble." Jordan stared down at his hands. Fancy labs. Trouble. He almost laughed. The irony felt too sharp, too bitter. Halston took a sip of his drink before adding, "If I ever found out who made this thing, I'd shake his hand." Jordan shut his laptop slowly. Halston, the man who accused him of being out of place, would shake his hand if he only knew what that hand created. Jordan's fingers tightened around his phone. This wasn't just irony. This was leverage. Halston's own words, arrogant, reckless, captured clearly in Jordan's recording. The implication that the investigation would be buried. The hint of targeted surveillance. The mocking dismissal of Jordan's humanity. It wasn't irrefutable evidence, but it cracked the facade. And maybe, just maybe, it would make the system listen. Jordan grabbed his backpack and stood. He kept his head low as he passed Halston's booth, heart pounding. He almost escaped cleanly, almost. Until Halston's voice reached him one last time. "People need to remember who keeps this campus safe." Jordan stopped for half a second. He didn't turn around. He didn't confront him. He didn't give Halston the satisfaction. But inside him something had changed. Something was no longer afraid. He stepped into the night, cold air hitting his face like clarity. He pulled out his phone and checked the recording. 8 minutes and 19 seconds. Jordan whispered to himself, "This time, the truth won't die quietly." And he walked away. Jordan didn't sleep that night. He kept replaying the recording, each arrogant word from Halston echoing through his headphones. Every boast, every threat, every casual admission of how the system would close ranks. By sunrise, Jordan had made his decision. Maya met him at the student cafe before class. She slid into the booth across from him, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "You said it was important," she murmured. "What happened?" Jordan handed her an earbud. "Listen." He pressed play. Maya sat perfectly still as Halston's voice spilled through the audio. Mocking, confident, unafraid. "It'll die quietly. People who challenge the department get marked." The kid should have stayed quiet. Her eyes widened with every sentence. When the clip ended, she pulled out the earbud slowly. "Jordan," she whispered, This is huge. I know. This proves he knew the investigation would favor him. Proves intimidation. It proves the truth. Jordan interrupted softly. But I don't know if that's enough. Maya looked at him, resolve sharpening behind her glasses. It will be. If people hear it. Jordan hesitated. Going public is risky. So is staying quiet, she replied. But one of those choices helps someone. The other just helps Holston. Jordan exhaled shakily. I'm scared. I know, Maya said gently. But you're not alone anymore. He nodded. He wasn't. They reached out to the student newspaper first. A reporter named Eli, a junior with a notebook always in hand, agreed to meet in a study room. He listened as Jordan recounted everything, Maya adding details when Jordan faltered. When they finished, Eli leaned forward. Do you have proof? Jordan slid the recording across the table. I do. Eli listened. His expression shifted from curious, to shocked, to furious. My God, he whispered. This isn't just misconduct. This is structural. This is systemic. Jordan swallowed. Will you publish it? Eli didn't hesitate. Absolutely. But I have to verify everything first. Can you send me timestamps, statements, screenshots, the complaint copy? I have it all, Jordan said. I've been keeping records. Eli cracked a slow smile. Good. Because this is going to shake campus. Jordan's stomach fluttered with a strange mix of fear and hope. Maya placed a hand on his arm. You're doing the right thing. Jordan hoped she was right. The article hit the campus website 2 days later. Student records officer admitting to bias. Intimidation during investigation. Jordan clicked it with trembling fingers. The story was thorough. Eli detailed the library incident, Maya's eyewitness account, and, most damningly, the recording. Quotes from Holston were transcribed in clean, bold print. It'll die quietly. People who challenge the department get marked. Kid should have stayed quiet. Jordan felt chills. His truth was no longer trapped in a complaint folder. It was public. Campus erupted. Students shared screenshots. Dorm group chats filled with disbelief and anger. Professors discussed it before class. Flyers appeared on bulletin boards with bold black letters. Justice for Jordan. Accountability for Holston. Jordan walked across campus and felt it instantly. Eyes on him again, but not the same eyes from the library. These eyes carried recognition, awareness, support. Some students approached him directly. Hey man, that was brave. We're behind you. What Holston did was wrong. Jordan nodded, overwhelmed. Thank you. A girl stopped him near the quad. You're the Focus Flow developer, right? Jordan froze. How did? Oh, people figured it out, she said with a grin. Someone noticed the GitHub username in the article screenshots and connected the dots. Jordan blinked. So, they know. Everyone knows, she corrected. Jordan wasn't sure whether to be terrified or proud. The girl continued. That app saved my grades. Thank you. Jordan's lips curved into a small, stunned smile. You're welcome. Maya walked beside him, beaming. See, this is what truth does. But not everyone was supportive. An email from campus safety hit Jordan's inbox at noon. We request your presence for a follow-up inquiry regarding the dissemination of confidential recordings. Jordan's heart dropped. Maya read it over his shoulder. They're trying to scare you. They're succeeding, Jordan muttered. But she shook her head. They can't punish you for exposing misconduct, especially now that the whole campus knows. Jordan bit his lip. Then why does this still feel like a trap? Because, she said softly, systemic problems don't disappear in a day. Jordan nodded. She was right. By evening, protests formed outside the administration building. Students marched with signs. Stop racial profiling. We see you, Holston. Safety shouldn't mean silence. Jordan stood at the edge of the crowd, watching, not leading. He didn't want to be a symbol. He didn't want to be a headline. He just wanted dignity. Maya nudged him. Look. A group of freshmen, ones he'd overheard talking about Focus Flow, held up a sign. Protect the mind that protects our grades. Jordan laughed softly despite everything. Then Eli appeared beside him, breathless. Jordan. The university announced an emergency hearing. Tomorrow morning. Jordan's breath caught. Tomorrow. They can't ignore the recording, Eli said. This is happening fast. Jordan stared at the glowing windows of the administration building. Tomorrow. Everything would change tomorrow. He swallowed the fear climbing his throat. Okay, he whispered. Let them hear the truth. The hearing room was colder than Jordan expected. Sterile, white walls, a long wooden table, and a panel of administrators sitting like carved statues. A microphone rested in front of each seat. A pitcher of water sat untouched at the center. Maya squeezed Jordan's hand before they entered. You're not alone, she whispered. But as Jordan stepped inside and saw the panel, Dean Caldwell, Investigator Randall, 2 board members, and a student representative who looked barely awake, he felt a tremor slide through him anyway. Halston was already there. Uniform crisp, and high. Eyes sharp with unshaken confidence. He didn't look nervous. Jordan wished he could say the same. Let's begin, Dean Caldwell said, adjusting her glasses. Officer Halston, Mr. Hayes. Thank you for attending this disciplinary review. Jordan took a seat beside Maya. Halston sat across from them with his supervisor at his side. Caldwell folded her hands. Mr. Hayes, you filed the original complaint. You may speak first. Jordan's pulse hammered, but he leaned toward the microphone. Thank you. I want to clarify that this isn't about disrespecting authority. It's about protecting students. Halston smirked subtly. Jordan continued, voice steadier now. Officer Halston approached me in the library without cause. He accused me of trespassing. He escalated the situation even after I cooperated. He made assumptions about me based on nothing but how I looked and where I was sitting. Randall interrupted. We've reviewed your written statement, Mr. Hayes. Please focus on what is new today. Jordan inhaled sharply. What's new is this. He pulled out his phone and slid a USB device to the panel. The recording. Halston's confidence flickered, but only for a second. The board connected the device to a speaker. Caldwell pressed play. Halston's voice filled the room, arrogant and echoing. It'll die quietly. People who challenge the department get marked. The kid should have stayed quiet. Silence dropped over the table like a weight. Jordan kept his eyes on Halston. Halston's jaw tightened, but he didn't break. Randall cleared his throat. Officer, do you wish to respond? Halston leaned forward with forced calm. This recording was taken without my knowledge, in a private conversation. It lacks context. Jordan stood. I have the full 8 minutes if you want context. Halston glared. You waited in a cafe to spy on me? Jordan's voice rose, steady and sharp. No, I was studying. Just like in the library when you targeted me. Caldwell raised a hand. Officer Halston, did you or did you not make these statements? Halston hesitated. I may have said something similar, but... So you did say them, Jordan pressed. Halston exhaled sharply. Yes, but they were jokes. Duty banter. Not serious. Maya leaned into her microphone. Jokes about marking students. About burying complaints. That's your defense. Halston's eyes narrowed. I don't answer to bystanders. You answer to the truth, Maya said. A faint murmur rippled through the room. Caldwell tapped her pen. Officer Halston, your comments undermine the integrity of the investigation and suggest potential bias. This is not a small issue. Halston's supervisor finally spoke. Dean, Officer Halston has a clean record. We should consider whether the student misunderstood. Jordan shot to his feet. Misunderstood. His voice didn't crack. Rang. I understood perfectly. The fear. The intimidation. The silence I felt pressured into. That recording wasn't a misunderstanding. It was confirmation. He swallowed. Hard. For once, he said, I ask you to listen to what students experience instead of what's easiest to believe. The panel went still. Even the air felt different. Caldwell studied Jordan for a long moment before turning to Holston. Officer, your statements, recorded in your own voice, clearly violate campus conduct expectations. This panel will deliberate, but I must be transparent. Disciplinary action is likely. Holston stiffened. This is ridiculous. Randall spoke next, his tone clipped. Your words eroded the credibility of the entire investigation. That alone warrants review. Beat passed. Caldwell nodded. Until deliberations conclude, Officer Holston is suspended from campus patrol effective immediately. Jordan exhaled. Finally, a breath that didn't hurt. Holston stood abruptly. This isn't over. Caldwell's voice cut through the tension. It is for today. Please leave. Holston stormed out, his boots striking the floor like angry punctuation. When the door closed, Maya squeezed Jordan's arm. Jordan, you did it. He didn't answer at first. His chest filled not with triumph but with something heavier, something real. I told the truth, he said softly. That's all. And they heard it, she said. For the first time, Jordan believed she was right. Jordan thought suspension would bring relief. He was wrong. In the days after the hearing, his sleep evaporated. He lay awake at night replaying every moment. Holston's stare, the panel's silence, the cold click of the recording being played aloud. Even though the officer was gone from campus, Jordan felt him everywhere. In the uniform passing by the dining hall, in the radio chatter outside the student center, in the sudden shift of a shadow on the sidewalk. Trauma didn't disappear just because the threat did. Maya noticed immediately. They sat on a bench near the artificial lake behind the library, watching ducks skim across the water. It should have been peaceful. It wasn't. You haven't touched your sandwich, she said gently. Jordan stared at it. Not hungry. You haven't been hungry for 3 days. Jordan didn't respond. Maya sighed softly. Talk to me. He exhaled shakily. I know he's suspended. I know the panel saw the truth. But every time I walk somewhere alone, I feel like he's still behind you, she finished. Jordan nodded. That's normal, you know, Maya said. After something like that. Jordan stared at the ripples in the water. Why does justice feel like this? I thought I'd feel safer. Maya's voice softened. Justice isn't healing. It just stops things from getting worse. Jordan blinked. Then what's healing? She nudged him lightly. Being allowed to breathe again. And sometimes, that takes time. Jordan rubbed his palms against his jeans. I keep thinking, what if I hadn't recorded him? What if you hadn't come forward? What if they believed him anyway? But they didn't, she reminded him. Because you didn't stay silent. Jordan swallowed. I didn't want to be a symbol. You're not a symbol, Maya said. You're a person who went through something painful and still stood up. He looked at her. Do you ever regret speaking out? Every day, she admitted. I get weird stares. 2 people told me I ruined a good officer's career. But then I think about the look on your face in that library video. And I remember why I did it. Jordan nodded slowly. Yeah. They sat quietly for a moment. Eventually, Jordan reached into his backpack and pulled out his laptop. Maya smiled faintly. Focus flow? She asked. Yeah, Jordan said. I've been avoiding it. But I think I need to work on something that doesn't hurt to think about. He opened the app file, lines of code waiting like old friends. Maya leaned over his shoulder. What are you building? A grounding mode, Jordan said. For panic. For spiraling thoughts. Something that helps you breathe. Something I could have used this week. Maya raised an eyebrow. You're writing healing into your app. Jordan shrugged. I write what I need. She smiled. You should put your name on it someday. Jordan froze. I don't know. Jordan, she said firmly. You deserved credit long before all this happened. But credit means visibility, he whispered. And visibility means vulnerability, she acknowledged. I know. Jordan closed the laptop halfway. I'm not ready. That's okay, Maya said. Healing isn't a deadline. Jordan let out a long breath, one that felt slightly less heavy than the last. Later that evening he met with Eli, the student reporter. Eli sat across from him in the campus newsroom, surrounded by stacks of printouts and a half-eaten muffin. Jordan, people want to know how you're doing, he said. They want to support you. Jordan shook his head. I don't want interviews. Eli studied him. You don't owe anyone your story. You already did the hard part. But if you ever want to say something, the platform's yours. Jordan softened. Thanks. Really? As Jordan stood to leave, Eli added. And for what it's worth, Focus Flow's trending on student forums. People are calling you a genius. Jordan managed a smile. I'm not a genius. Just a guy trying to get through school. Maybe so, Eli said. But you changed something here. Jordan walked out into the cool evening air. Changed. He wasn't sure if he believed it yet. But for the first time since the library incident, the campus didn't feel like a maze of shadows. It felt like a place where healing might actually begin. Jordan was pouring cereal in his dorm kitchen when his phone buzzed with a campus-wide alert. Officer Holston resigns from university contract effective immediately. Jordan froze. For months, Holston's shadow had felt inescapable, looming in every hallway, echoing in every footstep behind him, haunting even his quietest moments. And now, with a single sentence, that shadow dissolved. Maya burst into the kitchen a minute later, waving her phone. Jordan! I saw, he said quietly. She searched his face. How do you feel? Jordan set the cereal box down and leaned against the counter. I don't know. Lighter maybe. But also tired. Maya nodded. Justice isn't dramatic. It's exhausting. Jordan let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. It doesn't feel like a win. It feels like something ending but not neatly. Because it's not neat, she agreed. Nothing about this was. They sat at the small table. Campus life buzzed outside the window. Students laughing, skateboards scraping, leaves rustling. A normal morning for everyone else. But not for Jordan. So what now? Maya asked. Jordan shrugged. Classes. Studying. Trying to sleep more than 3 hours. She smiled. And Focus Flow. He opened his laptop and pulled up a nearly finished update. A new tab blinked at the top. Calm mode, beta. I've been working on this, he said. A breathing guide, grounding prompts, real-time heart rate reminders if someone pairs it with a smartwatch. Things I needed these weeks. Maya's eyes softened. You turned your trauma into a tool to help others. Jordan shook his head. No. I turned it into something that helps me heal. Helping others is just a bonus. Then he clicked into the credits section of the app. Still blank except for the anonymous developer ID. I don't know if I'll ever attach my name, he admitted softly. You don't have to, Maya said. Visibility is a choice. And healing is personal. Jordan closed the laptop. Yeah. But maybe someday. Later that afternoon, Jordan walked across campus alone, hands in his pockets, wind brushing against his hoodie. He ended up outside the library, the place everything had begun. For a long moment, he stood at the bottom of the steps, staring at the door he had once been marched through in humiliation. A librarian stepped outside and noticed him. Jordan, she said gently, I've been wanting to apologize. I should have done more that day. Jordan shook his head. You tried to step in. Not enough, she said. But thank you for speaking up. Because of you, policies are being reviewed. Officers are receiving new training. Students feel safer coming here now. Jordan blinked. Really? Really, she said warmly. Change begins quietly, but it echoes. He absorbed that. Slowly, carefully. Thank you, he said. She nodded and went back inside. Jordan climbed the steps and entered the library for the first time since the incident. The silence felt different now. Not oppressive, not tense. Just quiet. Just peaceful. He walked to the same corner where he'd been confronted. The chair was empty. Sunlight streamed across the table. Jordan sat. He opened his laptop and wrote a short note inside the app's hidden developer console. To the students who study through fear, who carry more than textbooks, who breathe through the weight they never asked for. This update is for you. He didn't publish the note publicly. It didn't need to be seen. Just needed to exist. That evening, Jordan headed back to the dorms. Passing through the quad, he overheard two freshmen talking. Dude, the focus flow update drops tonight. Finally. That calming mode is exactly what I need. Jordan smiled to himself. He kept walking. No spotlight. No fame. No applause. Just forward. Just healing. Just a life that he could reclaim piece by piece. As he reached his building, Maya called after him. Jordan. He turned. Yeah. She jogged up, slightly out of breath. I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you. He looked down shyly. I almost gave up a dozen times. Everyone almost gives up, she said. But you didn't. Jordan nodded. Thank you, he said softly. For everything. Maya smiled. Anytime. Jordan entered his building with a quiet sense of calm. An ending not triumphant but honest. Not perfect, but his. And as the door closed behind him, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Oh.